What is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? So we're reacting to ESPN's, or the Jump's, winners and losers of the 2020 free agency. So I do want to see what they have to say, who their winners were, who their losers were, and we have some expert analysts here on this panel. I do like Rachel Nichols. I do like Jackie McMullen, but boy, you guys know I am not a fan of Kendrick Perkins as a basketball personality or an analyst. I don't think he's credible enough. Like, yes, he played in the NBA. He's got an NBA championship, and he probably knows more about the game than me. But when he talks about the NBA, I just can't take him seriously. I just can't. I don't know if that's just me or that's all you guys as well. I think I have him muted on Twitter just because every time I see one of his takes, I'm like, why is he saying that? I don't know. So maybe he'll prove me wrong today. I'll see if I agree or disagree with these his takes here. And you guys know, if I don't like the person and they say something I agree with, I'll mention, like, I think I agree with that. Or if I do like the person and they say something I disagree with, I'll tell them, or I'll say that I don't like the take there. So we're going to be reacting to this today. You guys should be getting a double upload with a quiz later today that I'm really excited to try out. Somebody let me know it on Twitter, and I think I'm going to do that, so be on the lookout for that. If that doesn't come out, then you'll get a double upload tomorrow, so I do apologize. But without further ado, we can get into this. I'm going to be doing it with a small review because ESPN Disney will tend to copyright it if it was on a big screen. Even though I did the small screen last time with Fox and Colin Coward's video, and they still copyrighted me. It was basically not even half the screen. But we'll see what happens today. We'll get into this.
All right, guys. So much action over the weekend. The dust hasn't fully settled from free agency, but we still want your winners and losers. So, Jackie, we will start with you. Who is winning free agency?
Oh, to me, it is most definitely the Lakers. You had Dennis Schroeder, you had Montrezl Harrell. I haven't read anybody that saw that.
See, I'm confused because it goes already. Winners and losers of the 2020 NBA free agency, and she mentions Dennis Schroeder, who was not a free agent. But maybe it's just in that time period? I don't know. Because this was made before the draft.
And then you had one of my favorite NBA players of all time, Marc Gasol, who I know is a little older.
I was like, wow, really? Montrezl Harrell is one of your favorite players of all time, but then they, as she said that, they showed Montrezl Harrell. Okay, Marc Gasol makes more sense.
He's not good, his three-point shooting's fallen off, but he's still one of the smartest, most savviest defensive players in the league. I picture him guarding Jokic for the Lakers when it comes time. I also love what Portland did in Atlanta. Those are my two runners-up.
Well, Jackie, you're absolutely right. The Lakers are the biggest winner because of all the points you pointed out. But I love what the Celtics done, added Tristan Thompson to that roster and Jeff Teague. And then let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. They are
interesting. I wouldn't say they're one of the biggest winners. I mean, I do like the Thompson addition. I do. And Jeff Teague, I think, is an upgrade over Brad Wanamaker. I mean, I think they were a winner. It does suck that they lost Gordon Hayward, which probably hurts them on that totem pole. They get the trade exception. All right, Kendrick.
Winning big time. Getting Chris Paul, adding a guy like Jay Crowder.
Sounds like a nice free agency.
Another guy like E'Twaun Moore, who a lot of people don't value.
Did they get somebody else? They got Jay Crowder. They got E'Twaun Moore, Chris Paul. Why do I feel like they got somebody else? I don't know.
I'm looking at this Phoenix Suns roster, and they look pretty damn good on paper also.
The Suns are such an exciting team going into this next season. It's so refreshing for Suns fans who have seen that team mismanaged for a very, very long time to be putting the right pieces together both last season and now going into this season. The Portland Trailblazers, I don't know how they could have done better considering what their roster is. The Lakers, phenomenal.
I'm a fan of the Portland Trailblazers offseason. You guys know that. Adding Rocco, bringing in Harry Giles, bringing back Carmelo Anthony. I feel like there's somebody else I'm missing. I don't know. There's probably somebody else I'm missing, but I just love the Rocco acquisition for them. I really do.
Considering especially that Montrezl Harrell is not only a good player to pick up, he's going to be better on your team than he was for the Clippers just because of the fit with Anthony Davis and some of the other players that can cover up for Montrezl's weaker defensive issues. And then you also...
Yeah, I think the Montrezl Harrell signing is it's overrated. I mean, it's a great contract, boy, don't get me wrong. And I think it's a great addition for the Lakers. I just think, like, they're not going to mention the Clippers, I don't think. They might. We're only 2 minutes into this video. But I think the Clippers had a good offseason. I think Serge Ibaka for the Clippers is an upgrade over Montrezl Harrell on the defensive end especially, giving you size. Montrezl Harrell was guarding AD at the time, or you would have to put in Zubats. So he gives you size at the 5, defense, and he can space the floor for you. Montrezl Harrell could not. And Ibaka's played well in the last 2 playoffs. Obviously, he won a championship 2 years ago. And Montrezl Harrell wasn't very good especially on the defensive end in this year's
also kind of
playoffs.
weaken your opponent across the hallway, which I know is a big deal in Lakers-Clippers land, whether they admit it or not. And then I'm going to throw one more in there. I don't know if this is technically free agency. I'm just kind of lumping in the whole week with trades and the draft.
Okay, so it's not free agency. These are 2020 winners and losers. Yeah, because the Blazers, they weren't really a huge free agency team, but obviously Roka was their big acquisition. Okay, so I don't know why it's titled losers in free agency. It's the offseason.
But Philadelphia, Jackie,
Yeah, they had a
you and
good
I have
offseason.
talked so often about the
I
fit
agree.
between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and the biggest issue when having that discussion is who are the players around them. I don't know if we have the numbers
100%.
from our researcher, Caesar, but if you look at these two guys when they were on the floor together just a couple years ago, they were plus 15. I mean, that you wouldn't look at that and say, God, those guys can't play together. They don't fit, because they had spacing. They had other guys around them. And then you look at each season since then and how the numbers have gone down. Well, they didn't change into different players. It's because of the players around them. So Daryl Morey did such a good job switching out the players around them. They're not there yet at an ideal roster.
Like, it's funny because I live in Philadelphia at Temple, and mostly all my friends here are like from PA, and they're all Sixers fans, and they love Daryl Morey and what he did. Absolutely love it. I do too. I think Seth Curry, I think this was a win-win trade, Seth Curry for Josh Richardson, because Dallas needs defense, not as much shooting, and Philly needs shooting, not as much defense. So Philly gets a great shooter in Seth Curry. Yes, they lose Josh Richardson on the defensive end, but they already have Ben Simmons. They have Joel Embiid. They have Danny Green. They have, we'll take out Embiid, but they have Simmons, Green, and Thibault, 3 great perimeter defenders, so they don't really need Josh Richardson. And I think also getting Tyrese Maxey's nice. I like Dwight Howard as a backup center, probably one of the best backup centers they've had, if you're not counting Al Horford as one, in kind of the Embiid era. Or I guess they had Rashawn Holmes at some point, but you know what I mean. They had a good backup center. And was there somebody else that they added? Maxey? Well, Danny Green, I think. Yes, you had to give up a first-round pick to get off the Al Horford contract. We all expected that. I thought it would take maybe 2, or maybe a young player. But they were able to get off that contract, give up a first, but also get Danny Green in return, who's going to help them immensely.
But the improvement, I think, is such a breath of fresh air for those two guys. They are in my winners category for the week at large. For the other side of the coin, though, Jackie, who are your losers?
Well, I'm going to stick in Los Angeles. But again, we talked about Montrezl.
I disagree. I don't know if Serge Ibaka signed at this time. Let me figure it out. So this was recorded on or uploaded on November 23rd. Let me see when Serge signed. So I just Googled it, and Clippers signed on November 22nd. Wait, was this the 23rd or the 22nd? 23rd. So there is a good case. I don't know. They might mention that Ibaka is here, but I disagree with this. They are not a loser whatsoever. They had any improvement on their offseason. Actually, let me hear her talk first.
Carroll walking across the hallway probably could just move his stuff from one locker to the next. I think that's a
so they know they got Serge Ibaka.
And I'll tell you something that a lot of people aren't talking about, but they should be, is JaMychal Green going to the Nuggets for me is also a big loss for them.
Yes, okay. I can get behind that. But okay, the Paul George signing didn't happen yet, or the re-signing, but you upgraded at your big with Ibaka over Harrell. In my opinion, is an upgrade for that Clippers team. You might say overall you'll take Harrell over Ibaka, but for this Clippers team, in general, Ibaka is going to be, I think, a better fit. Also, you traded Landry Shamet for Luke Kennard, which I think is an upgrade. Luke Kennard is way better of a playmaker. I'm not too sure if Luke Kennard was a good defender last year. I'm not going to say something that I don't know, so I'm not going to say he was really bad or better than Shamet. Shamet's I don't think anything special on the defensive end. And obviously the main thing about Shamet is his shooting. Luke Kennard's a phenomenal shooter. Yeah, you'd probably have Shamet off ball, but I just think Luke Kennard's an upgrade just as a playmaker for that team, especially as a facilitator. And I'm a fan of that trade. I think they upgraded there. And they have great playmakers outside of George and Kawhi, guys that can create their own shot, in Lou Will, in Marcus Morris, in Luke Kennard. I think they had a winning offseason, so I disagree with Jackie
Clippers. And remember we were talking about Rajon Rondo going across the hall with his stuff to the other locker. Not so fast. He ended up going to the Hawks.
I do think they needed to get a primary ball handler, and that could probably happen in the trade market this year. I would have liked to see them maybe get a Jeff Teague, but I think Derrick Rose would be perfect if they're able to trade for him. I don't think they'd be able to get Ricky Rubio or somebody like that, but I think they do need a better ball handler, maybe than Patrick Beverley, but who knows? Maybe that could be Luke Kennard.
So for me, the Clippers do not come out of this well. Here's the other thing. They did add Serge Ibaka, who I like. I probably like even a little better than Montrezl Harrell because of what he can do.
So how are they losers? What?
But he has a player option for 2021, Rachel.
Okay.
And Perk, that means that if things start to go sour, he, Kawhi, Paul George, they can all walk. in 2021.
That was a bad take. No, I'm just kidding, guy, because Paul George ended up resigning.
Well, my biggest loser is the Rockets. Here you got your two franchise guys asking to be traded right now, and you go out there and you sign Christian Woods. Look, Christian Woods is a good young player, but he's not moving the needle. And you let all these guys walk away and don't make any type of moves to make your stars happy, especially James Harden.
Well, this was obviously before the Russell Westbrook trade, so I don't know if they would call him losers even more. They get a first-round pick. They get John Wall. John Wall and Cousins played actually pretty good last night, and I'm excited to see them even more now this year. I wouldn't say they were winners, so if you want to call them a loser,
to try to keep
I won't
him.
disagree too much.
Right now, the biggest loser in free agency is the Houston Rockets. They're dropping the ball tremendously. But I would like to add one more thing.
Okay, I'm sorry for pausing it so much, but they don't have any money. They were paying Westbrook and Harden that much, and they were able to end up with Christian Wood. They basically traded Rocco for Christian Wood at that point, but I mean, what else did you want them to do? They don't have any money. I don't know if you wanted them to. I don't think any team was taking on Eric Gordon at the moment. They were able to keep or bring back Daniel House or Ben McLemore. So I don't know. What do you want them to do?
Now to me, because they lost Jeremy Grant, and I thought they should have did everything in their power to keep him, especially the way that he defends, his length, size, athleticism, and in the Western Conference where you need a guy like that to watch LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and all these athletic wings, even a Kevin Durant, and you let him walk away. I thought Denver really lost on that with losing Jeremy Grant.
Perk, I'm a little surprised to hear you put the Celtics in the winners category. I like the Tristan Thompson signing too. I think that it fills a need for them. I think that he will be a good, active, dedicated player for them, except for a few spots, relatively injury-free. But do you think that the Celtics roster got appreciably better? Would you put them as a winner, Jackie, or would you put them more as neutral?
I would not put him as a winner. Gordon Hayward walked away for nothing. And I'm telling you, people don't understand how important Gordon Hayward was to the Celtics. This is a guy who put aside his ego, put aside the number of shots. He was the best skater on that team last year. And the shots that he did make, he was very efficient. Now, I get that everybody looks at the dollar signs. Was he worth $34 million? Would I have paid him what the Charlotte Hornets paid him if I were the Boston Celtics? No, I wouldn't. But he still walked away without you getting anything for him. I don't consider that a win.
Yeah.
Well, I do.
Go ahead.
I do, Rachel and Jackie. I consider it a win because I'm going to tell you why. He walked away, and now give the keys to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and you still have...
You kind of did that last year, though, Perk. I mean, you want to give him more keys? I mean, Tatum was your number one guy, and Brown was arguably your number two with Hayward there playing great.
You have Kemba Walker, so you still have a big three.
You can tell Jackie McMullen disagrees so much with Perk here.
You add a guy to the bench like Jeff Teague, who's capable of giving you 15 to 16 points a night, and then you...
What? I thought he was going to say minutes. In what world is Jeff Teague averaging 15 points next year? I mean, okay, maybe he'll be their fourth scorer. Do we really think? Because Tatum's going to average north of 23. Brown's going to average close to 20. Kemba's probably going to average more than 21. I don't know. Maybe I'm underrating Jeff Teague. But 16 points a night, 15 or 16 for Jeff Teague? I just don't. What did he average last year? Let me see. I know he bounced around a little bit last year playing in Minnesota and Atlanta. I mean, he averaged 13 points when he was in Minnesota and then got traded. And he had a larger role there. So I disagree with that, Perk.
And Tristan Thompson, one of the best guys at the center position that can anchor a defense, switch 1 through 5, is a live threat.
Don't think he's one of the best on that end. I think he's good, but not one of the best.
A center that they've been missing, that the Celtics been needing. He brings us a certain type of tenacity. So I understand losing Gordon Hayward was a little blow, but moving him out the way so that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum could now flourish and take over, that's a huge win to me. And I really think that these guys can get it done.
Well, time will tell. If you're right,
Look at her
we'll see.
reaction.
It's a competitive Eastern Conference. You've got Brooklyn that we know will get better with Kevin.
That's funny. Oh my God, she didn't. That's funny. funny. But yeah, that is going to be for me. Let me know if you guys disagree with anything I said, with anything they said. Like, hey, if you disagree with what I said, let me know. Like, this is just my personal opinions. And if you agreed with anything they said that maybe I disagree with, hey, let me know. But yeah, that's going to be for me. You guys will be getting a double upload today, so be on the lookout for that. Like always, drop a like if you guys do enjoy the videos. Thank you all for watching. I love y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.